Bam, man.
Hey, there's something down there. See that in the clearing?
Hello? Oh my gosh.
These encounters aren't just sightings. They're moments where something unknown steps into view then disappears before anyone can understand it. From a massive figure forcing two men to climb a tree in panic to strange footprints that suddenly stop without a trace, each clip leaves more questions than answers. So, if all of this was caught on camera, what's really out there staying just out of reach? Two friends entered a restricted forest zone in Kelantan, Malaysia, expecting nothing more than a routine exploration. While filming, they noticed a large figure standing among the trees, barely visible in the darkness. As they attempted to move closer, it suddenly advanced toward them, forcing them to run and climb a tree for safety.
Sini!
Wis, ni kejar. Dekat bawah tu, Bik. Dekat bawah tu. Dekat mana? Bawah tu, Bik. Oh, cik baik tak kena. Ish. Mana dia? Mana? Dia. Apa dia? Oh, cik baik tak kena tu ni. Saya duduk belakang tu ni. Wih, dia lagi. Kau dekat. Allah. Macam baik. Kita nak balik. Gelap lah.
From above, the figure appeared distorted and unnatural, lingering briefly before disappearing back into the jungle, allowing both to get away unharmed. At that point, the footage brings up several possibilities. Was it an unusually shaped animal seen under fear and low visibility? Or could the movement and timing suggest something staged for the camera? And if it wasn't staged, what do you think they actually encountered in that forest that night? A channel known as Oklahoma Adventures uploaded a video that surprised the Bigfoot community. Deep within a forest associated with unusual sightings, the group heard heavy movement, came across scattered bones, and found strange footprints unlike those of any known animal. Later, their camera captured something unsettling. Raising questions about whether it was misidentified wildlife, staged footage, or something unknown. What do you think? A woman living on a rural property went to check the tree line near where her family kept old vehicles after hearing an unusual sound. As she walked around her trailer, something sudden made her run with her phone, accidentally capturing the moment as she fled. The footage was later uploaded, suggesting she got away safely. When the clip was slowed and rotated, a dark, heavy-built form appeared, possibly wildlife, a hoax, or a deliberate threat. What do you believe it was? An incident involving the Oklahoma Adventures team took place as they were moving through a thick forest. They spotted something shifting behind a tree and zoomed in to get a better view. What showed up on the footage looked unbelievable, accompanied by a deep growl that seemed like a warning. At first, it looked similar to a gorilla, but since no wild apes exist in Oklahoma, Bigfoot seemed like the only possible explanation. So, what do you think they really encountered? A person walking near the water spotted a dark figure shifting in the water. At first glance, it seemed human, but it appeared fully covered in dark fur or a thick coat. The clip was later shared online, where some viewers suggested it might be Bigfoot. However, its proportions didn't align with typical descriptions, looking too short and slender. Even the individual who filmed it questions whether it was Bigfoot, yet doesn't think it was human either. Without knowing the location, what do you think it actually was? A man hiking up a mountain claimed he spotted Bigfoot moving ahead of him and entering a cave.
Bigfoot went up into that cave. I just saw oh my God.
He didn't record the figure itself, only his stunned reaction, which caused many to question the story. Was it real or just a misinterpretation? While walking alone in American Fork Canyon, a man noticed something large moving through the trees. At first, he thought it was an elk, but as he got closer, it rose onto two legs, revealing a distinctly human-like shape that was far too large. Frightened, he ran. Do you think this encounter was real? Late one night, a surveillance camera at Campsite Brewing Company recorded something unusual near the edge of the frame. A tall, dark shape appeared for a moment, and when staff reviewed the footage the next morning, no one could explain it. Some believed it looked human, while others thought it resembled Bigfoot. To this day, the figure remains unidentified. What do you think was captured on camera that night? A couple visiting Ashland set out on a hike toward Tunnel 13, walking nearly a mile through melting snow that had been on the ground for about a week. As they stepped past a guardrail, the woman spotted an unusual print in the snow that didn't match typical human or dog tracks. As they continued, more impressions appeared, each measuring around 18 inches long with defined toes and a noticeably large front toe. The prints followed the path for a short distance, then suddenly stopped without continuing into the woods. They didn't resemble any known animals or snowshoe patterns. If not Bigfoot, what could have created them? In August 1994, Paul Freeman was exploring Oregon's Blue Mountains when he captured unusual footage.
Oh, there he goes.
His camera first showed large, human-like footprints pressed into muddy ground, displaying skin ridges that seemed too detailed to be fabricated. As he followed the trail, a tall, hairy figure appeared about 50 yards ahead, walking upright with a smooth, natural gait. That short recording, later known as the Freeman footage, remains one of the most debated Bigfoot sightings ever filmed. John Stoneman was hiking through Kinsua State Park when something unusual drew his attention. He raised his camera and snapped two photos, which later seemed to show two tall, hairy figures standing among the trees. Stoneman said they were larger than any local bears and stood in a posture that looked far more human than animal. What he captured was never confirmed, but the images were added to the growing list of strange sightings reported in Pennsylvania's forests. A trail camera in a snowy forest recorded something unusual one early morning. The movement appeared human, yet noticeably large, but when zoomed in, it seemed to be wearing clothing. The figure also didn't look broad enough to match typical Bigfoot descriptions, and its gait appeared almost too human. Still, the mystery remains: what would someone be doing deep in the forest, far off the trail at that hour? A man set out expecting a routine hike, but deep in the woods, far from the main trail, the day quickly took a strange turn. He noticed movement ahead and lifted his phone to record, capturing a tall figure standing with its back toward him. When it slowly turned and seemed to notice him, he ran while the figure remained still. Forests in Idaho are known for strange sounds and reports from hunters and campers, yet many viewers question whether this video is authentic. Does it show Bigfoot, or is it simply too perfect to be real? On October 12, 2025, a man walking through a small wooded area in Idaho spotted two upright figures moving at sunset, one large and one small. He recorded a brief clip that quickly went viral, described as Bigfoot and a baby. But was it actually a Bigfoot family or just people wearing costumes? A woman who regularly walked her dog through a quiet forest noticed something unusual one evening. A tree she passed almost every day looked different, covered in thick moss and oddly shaped, resembling a tall, shadowy figure. She took a photo and shared it online, where many suggested it looked like Bigfoot, while others questioned whether it was misidentification or pareidolia. When she returned the next day, the tree was gone, and she couldn't find it again, leaving her unable to explain what she had actually seen. A man was hiking quietly through the mountains of Peru when he noticed an unusual figure on the cliffs ahead. From a distance, it appeared human, but it was far too large. As the camera zoomed in, the figure moved step by step across the rocky slopes like a person, yet its size didn't match the surrounding ridges. Some believe it was a trick of perspective, while others are convinced it was something extraordinary. So, what do you think he actually captured? A video shared by Movie Guy 2 was recorded on March 8, 2023 in Yellowstone National Park. His friend noticed two dark figures moving across a field and began filming, assuming they were bears. When the footage was zoomed in and slowed down, the figures appeared to be walking upright. Park rangers later suggested it could be Bigfoot, but the video is too unclear to be certain. Could it simply be people instead? A man from the eastern band of Cherokee in North Carolina began hearing unusual sounds while out in nature one night. His recording captured a long, deep roar that didn't match any known animal in the area, echoing from deep within the forest. Locals familiar with the region said the sound resembled vocalizations often linked to Bigfoot sightings, and given the area's dense forests and long history of strange reports, could this have been a Bigfoot call? A content creator was walking through the woods with his uncle, filming their way back, when his uncle abruptly halted and pointed his focus toward something deeper among the trees. The creator zoomed in and briefly captured an odd figure partially concealed by foliage.
See it behind that tree right there?
Yeah, I see it.
No, you go get it. Let me keep it on camera.
Wait a minute, hold up. I don't know what the look like a damn bear. What is that?
I don't know, but it's moving though.
Hell yeah, what is that, man? Look like a damn bear, man.
Man, look at it. See it, boy?
Yeah, I see it. What the is that?
I tell you, boy.
What is that?
Go take the sergeant look. Look sergeant again.
Go get the pistol. Go look under the seat and get look up under my seat.
Which one?
Look up under the pickup seat. Get the pistol.
Come on, the truck.
Yeah. I don't know what the is, man. Oh my God. This is real, man.
At first, they assumed it could just be a bear, but the way it stood and moved quickly made them question that idea. The uncle became visibly uneasy and wanted everything recorded as he tried to decide what to do next. The figure kept shifting its motion, clearly showing it was alive and aware of their presence. Not knowing what he was truly seeing, the creator hesitated as his uncle insisted he grab a firearm from under the vehicle seat. The situation grew even more unsettling when the figure lifted its arms and moved them in a slow, deliberate pattern, almost like it was signaling to something hidden in the forest. The moment felt deeply unsettling, and both men had the sense they were witnessing something far beyond what they could explain. The experience left them shaken with no clear idea what had been captured on camera or what kind of being could act that way, leaving behind more disturbing questions than answers as they tried to make sense of what they had just witnessed. Two researchers went back to a hunter's campsite in North Georgia, where they had earlier experienced unusual activity, hoping to reconnect with whatever might still be present in the area.
You want to hit it? Let's see if it answers. It answers.
Man, that's some kind of insanity going on.
Right? Okay.
After knocking, strange sounds seemed to echo in response, and the tension escalated when a sudden, forceful scream broke through the darkness, deep, loud, and eerily human-like.
Whoa. That was a scream.
Yeah, that was a human scream right there. And that was loud.
Unlike any typical animal call. Soon after, they detected heavy footsteps moving across the leaves and briefly noticed dark forms shifting at the edge of their view, always staying just beyond clear visibility.
Listen.
Whoa. That's tree house.
Yep.
Sounds like they're communicating.
As the night went on, the forest kept answering with unsettling noises, and their equipment started failing in ways that hinted something unseen might be affecting it. With the atmosphere becoming more intense and the disturbances continuing to grow, the investigators eventually chose to stop their search earlier than planned, recognizing that the situation had become too unpredictable to safely continue. Two campers were staying overnight deep in the forest when they came across something they never anticipated. While checking out the area near their campsite, they noticed a strange creature with unusually long arms and legs. It wasn't wearing anything, which made the sight even more disturbing. One of them raised a camera to record what they were seeing, but the creature suddenly moved, nearly drawing its attention to them and turning the situation into a close call they weren't ready for. A Reddit user claimed to have recorded a strange groaning sound deep in the woods. He believed the noise came from a Bigfoot and said it originated from the same spot where he thought he had previously seen the creature. The brief audio clip quickly gained attention online, generating both curiosity and doubt. Not long after, the uploader disappeared from communication, stating that undercover officers had shown up at his home. In August 2019, Doug Teague from Hickory, North Carolina, recorded footage of what he believed was a Bigfoot while walking his dog. He heard loud knocking sounds in the distance and went to check them out. Shortly after, he discovered large footprints and followed the trail until he spotted a strange figure moving among the trees.
He's still up here. Or something's up here. He's moving. He's moving, he's moving, he's moving. Daisy, come here. Daisy, come here.
Doug later stated that the creature reacted aggressively, throwing stones in his direction as he approached. An anthropologist later reviewed the prints and estimated they may have been made by something standing close to 15 feet tall. During a hunting trip in Georgia, A photo of a man captured something unusual in the background, a set of glowing eyes and the faint shape of a figure. When the image was shared on X, it quickly triggered debate. Some believed it could be Bigfoot, while others suggested it might be a mountain lion or another animal. The true identity of the figure remains unknown. A man was on his way to his remote cabin in the woods, expecting a quiet retreat, when things suddenly took an unexpected turn.
What is that? What in the heck?
He heard a sound he didn't recognize at all, and immediately ran, choosing not to stay long enough to find out what caused it. After he uploaded the footage online, theories quickly spread. Some suggested a skinwalker, others thought it might be Bigfoot, while skeptics argued it could have been a moose, or even audio played through a hidden speaker. In the end, no one really knows. A family was walking through the forest when their child pointed out something unusual, a large dark figure standing near the trees and watching them. At first, they thought it might be a bear, but a closer look revealed it didn't resemble one at all and appeared much more like Bigfoot. The moment they locked eyes with it, they knew they had to leave right away. Meanwhile, two kids filming a tutorial in southeast Oklahoma unintentionally captured a figure running in the background. They didn't notice it until days later while reviewing the footage. Some viewers noted that the location was near a Bigfoot-themed festival, suggesting it could have been someone wearing a costume. Was it a genuine sighting or simply a local dressed as Bigfoot? Willie was camping alone when the quiet of the forest was suddenly broken. He noticed a man standing among the trees near his campsite, completely silent and watching. The figure appeared only for a moment, before slipping back into the woods just as quickly as he had arrived. There were no nearby campsites occupied, and Willie hadn't encountered anyone else on the trail. The stranger didn't act like a typical camper and never said a word, leaving Willie unsettled enough to pack up and leave soon after. While traveling through the Pacific Northwest, a family noticed something unusual in the distance.
Don't move in there. No, there's a motorcycle. See?
I don't see nothing down there. Can't be the motorcycles, honey. There's nothing. You see what I'm
What's
saying?
that? What is that?
Tree.
No, you moved it, right? Right there. See it?
Uh-huh.
Look.
Nobody there.
Look. Isn't it those people?
Can't be.
There's nobody.
Not up in
down
the trees.
There's nobody down there no more.
They saw a tall figure near the edge of the forest, nearly 8 feet in height, moving in a way that blended naturally with the surrounding trees. The family managed to capture the moment on video, but the long distance and low image quality make it hard to determine exactly what the figure was. Whatever it may have been, it seemed to stand still at times, before subtly shifting between the trees, leaving the family uncertain whether they had recorded a person and animal, or something far more unusual. On June 25, 2024, a video appeared showing a man looking into strange sounds and movement near the edge of his property. As he got closer, he recorded something surprisingly large, claiming the figure stood close to 9 feet tall.
It's gotta be 9 foot tall. Hey, big fella. Hey, fella.
Many viewers online believe the footage shows a real encounter, and the man who filmed it seems to agree sharing it in hopes of finding answers or insight. Since the clip is recent and hasn't been thoroughly examined, its authenticity remains uncertain. Could this be a genuine Bigfoot encounter or just a well-made hoax? Share your thoughts below. This Instagram clip opens with a striking view of the Foss waterfall in Iceland. But within seconds, something unusual comes into frame. A small, dark figure can be seen moving along the edge of the cliff, climbing in a way that appears cautious and almost concealed. Strangely, the person filming didn't notice it at the time, and only discovered the figure later while reviewing the footage. While hiking the Appalachian Trail, a man stopped to film the surroundings, not realizing he was about to capture something unsettling.
Yo, these trees are crazy. Hello?
A sudden, intense scream echoed through the trees, clear enough to make him question whether someone truly needed help. But what caused it? A person in distress or a wild animal making a strangely human-like sound? One night in the Appalachian region, a woman and her child grew uneasy after hearing strange noises coming from their yard. She carefully stepped outside to check what was going on.
I just heard some really strange noises outside, so I'm just gonna take a quick look. I live in Appalachia, so this is probably not a great idea. What is that? I only know. I guess I'll just take a quick look.
Where did that skull go?
There's a skull there? Oh my gosh. What the heck? Why is there a skull here? Hello? Hello? Oh my gosh, I gotta get back inside.
Already knowing that going out in the dark wasn't the safest decision. As she looked around, she suddenly spotted a skull that hadn't been there before, resting near the edge of the yard. Moments later, it seemed to vanish, leaving her even more confused and unsettled. Realizing something was seriously wrong, she hurried back inside and locked the door, unsure whether the skull had been placed there by someone or if something far more disturbing was happening that night. This photo was taken by a woman tending livestock on her Navajo land in Ganado, Arizona, after she heard unusual noises. She wasn't looking for anything, but when she followed the sound, she saw it. The Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization examined the image and noted that the bulky upright figure matched descriptions often linked to Bigfoot sightings, appearing too large to be a person in a costume, especially in such a remote area. Still, the image is blurry and lacks physical evidence. Skeptics suggest it could be a misidentified rock or a shadow, but the mystery remains. Mark reported hearing disturbing laughter echoing outside before noticing unusual movement on his property. Near the right side of the bushes, just to the left of a utility pole, he saw shadowy figures shifting in the field. Watching more closely, he believed he could make out fast bipedal leg motion. On a larger screen, it even seemed possible that there were 2 or 3 figures present. At first, he thought they might be horses, but their movement patterns didn't appear to match. Adding to the oddness, Mark mentioned another detail. He believed something had hit the side of his house, or storm shelter, possibly rocks striking the metal siding and roof. On several occasions, he had noticed objects making contact while he was in the back of the house. He suspects the rocks may have been thrown intentionally, possibly to provoke a reaction, locate anyone inside, and create a disturbance.
there's something down there. You see that in the clearing?
Oh, yeah.
In a forest clearing, a tall black figure appeared, its outline resembling that of a man seen running as stones fell nearby. Some believe the figure may have noticed two people filming from a distance. From that range, the details remain unclear, but its height makes one thing evident: it stood taller than an average human. This mountain has long been linked to reports of Bigfoot, and over time many photos have surfaced. Interestingly, the figures captured in these images look strikingly similar, leading some to speculate they could belong to the same group or even a single family. The idea is both unsettling and intriguing. Could these encounters all be connected, or are they simply coincidences shaped by the wilderness? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's take a closer look at another Bigfoot sighting that drew attention. On September 21st, 2024, according to the caption, the photo was originally taken by a woman hiking in Northern California on New Year's Day in 2020. The account, Boise Bigfoot, states that the woman encountered a tall, hairy figure looking over a ridgeline while moving along a remote, mountainous trail. They analyzed the figure's height by comparing it to the surrounding terrain and estimated it to be around 7 to 8 feet tall. Zooming in for a better view, even though the image is blurry, some facial features can still be made out. The figure appears to have a cone-shaped head, a lighter-colored face, large eyes, and a noticeable nose. Skeptics have suggested it could be a bear, which may seem reasonable at first. However, the creature's wide muscular shoulders and conical head differ significantly from a bear's inward-sloping shoulders and rounded head. When comparing the structure of this figure to that of a bear, the differences become clear. This figure shows a more human or ape-like build, while a bear's body shape does not match these features. For some, this rules out the bear explanation. The speculation continues, with some suggesting the creature could be a dogman, while others believe it may be a Bigfoot due to the similarities in build. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. One rarely mentioned, but unsettling encounter reportedly occurred around 11:03 p.m. According to the caption, a man began hearing unusual noises outside his home late at night. Curious, he stepped into his backyard to investigate, searching for footprints or signs of activity, but found nothing out of the ordinary. Still uneasy, he chose to review the footage from his security camera, which had been pointed directly at the yard. When replaying the clip, he was shocked to see a dark, shadowy figure sprint across the frame. The most striking detail, its eyes appeared to glow. His dog, visible in the footage, also reacted in real time, ears raised and head following the figure's movement. This seemed to support that the presence was real, reducing the chance of video manipulation. Yet the figure disappeared abruptly, as if it faded into the darkness. Some believe the footage suggests something paranormal. Skeptics argue it may have been a person passing through, though that brings up more questions. Why enter the property at that hour? And how do the glowing eyes fit in? To this day, the homeowner has no clear explanation and admits he is not eager to find out. This new Sasquatch trail cam footage is currently drawing widespread attention online. Captured on November 2nd, 2024 at 3 a.m., the incident took place in a remote wooded area of Connorsville, Indiana. The images were submitted to the Bigfoot investigative group Rocky Mountain Sasquatch by a man named Josh Banker. Josh explained that when he went to check his trail cameras that morning, he believed he may have captured a Sasquatch. He also mentioned that neighbors had reported hearing strange, unexplained screeching sounds at night coming from the forest. At first, he assumed it was just deer moving around and setting off the dogs, but after reviewing the footage, his perspective changed. Josh's trail camera, which is triggered by motion and heat, captured a sequence of 4 images as soon as a large bipedal figure entered the frame. The second image in particular stands out as the most intriguing. The figure appears to be mid-motion, with its arms extended and moving in a way that does not resemble typical human movement. Although the camera quality is not high definition, the images still provide a fairly clear view of the figure. The creature shows characteristics commonly associated with Sasquatch, a broad muscular build, a rounded head, long arms, thick legs, and dense long hair covering its body. Josh also shared daytime photos of the area where the camera had been placed to give context to the surroundings. In addition, Rocky Mountain Sasquatch reported further evidence from the same location. Researcher Jeff Adams discovered well-defined tracks in the nearby mud. The prints measured approximately 6 inches in width, significantly wider than a typical human footprint, and included visible toes and other details, making them appear highly convincing. Jeff and his family also claimed to have seen the creature themselves not far from where the tracks were found. They described it as a tall, dark, hairy humanoid, consistent with many Bigfoot reports. So, what do you think could Bigfoot truly be roaming the forests of southeast Indiana? This evidence certainly makes it seem possible. Back in 2005, a French-Canadian truck driver took a scenic photo at Seven Falls Park in Quebec. At first, nothing appeared unusual, just trees, water, and untouched wilderness. But days later, while going through the photos, he zoomed into the bottom right corner and noticed something odd. A tall, broad figure covered in dark fur appeared with gorilla-like features, a cone-shaped head, wide shoulders, and long arms. It even seemed to be holding something. Some believed it looked like Bigfoot, while others said it resembled a dogman. Skeptics dismissed it as pareidolia, simply shapes and shadows creating illusions. But when the photographer returned to the location, whatever he had captured was no longer there.
That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.